Welcome to another HSExtra.com high school football video. My name is Joe Serrera, and we are joined this week by Page Pirates head coach Doug Robertson, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the Pirates season and their matchup Friday night with Mount Tabor. Doug, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you having me.
Your Pirates beat a Reedsville team last Friday night that hadn't lost a regular season game since 2019, hadn't lost a road regular season game since 2014. What did that win mean to your players and your staff?
It means a lot. It's validation of what we've been doing and what we've been telling them that is actually working. They can see the benefits from a win against a marquee program like Reedsville. So it's big for us. Obviously, we'll find out how big depending on how we react this week and the coming weeks. But obviously, in the immediate, it's a big win. The future will hold deciding how big a win it was.
Mm-hmm. You're a Reedsville alumnus, former Rams coach. What did it mean to you?
Obviously it's a little more to it, but at the same time, I was really more happy for our kids.
Mm-hmm.
We respect their program. I respect Jimmy Teague as much as anybody in our business and learned a lot from him. And to be able to, to win that football game against his football team, it's much more about how big a win that was for us rather than me being about me. But obviously, I still live in Reedsville, so it's nice to go in town and actually win a game against those guys, so I don't have to hear it for 365 days, selfishly.
I hear you. What were the keys to that win for your team, and are they things that you can kind of take forward as a game plan and a way to approach the season for your Pirates?
Well, I think as much as anything, it was it's how that Page football has to win. And I think we played a game that Page football can be successful in. The only thing I would say, you've covered us a long time as far as my teams. Turnovers are typically something we don't do. We had 2 more turnovers. So we got to eliminate the turnovers. But if you take away the turnovers, that's more of what I would call a Doug Robertson looking football game. Good defense, run the football, stop the run, solid in special teams other than the block punt that hurt us. And so we're getting closer to developing the identity that I think Page football has to play under for us to win. So I was pleased with that. I think that's what we got out of it. I think our kids understand what it's going to take for us to win and how we have to play.
You talked before the season about you had some experience coming back on your offensive line. It's a group that's been together for a few years, and they've kind of gelled, and they're leaders. Over 300 yards on the ground against a Reedsville team. That almost never happens. How important was that offensive line to that success?
Well, we flat out challenged them after Dudley. We got our butt whipped against Dudley, and we thought that was going to be something that would be more of an advantage for us, and it just wasn't. Credit to them. But we challenged them pretty hard last week against a really good defensive front from Reedsville. I think the guys come out and played a lot better. And they have to. For us to be good, our offensive line has to play well. And I think our running backs ran the ball differently. And I think our receivers, who kind of go unsung in the run game, they block very hard and give a lot of effort. So it's a lot of people coming together at one time to make it happen. But certainly happy. I mean, we were able to run the ball 62 times, like you said, for over 300 yards. When you can do that, you're usually going to be successful.
You mentioned the season opening loss to Dudley. Then you play Reedsville. Now you're going to Mount Tabor. 3 programs that have won a state championship in the last couple of years. That's a brutal non-conference schedule. How do you kind of keep that in perspective for your players? What do you tell them about that?
Well, we just look at it as a great challenge and an opportunity. We feel like we belong too. So I almost turn around. They have to play Page. Those 3 teams have to play Page. That's good for them too. And we have to know that we belong in those games now. It's not a situation where we're just trying to show up and play well. We're trying to show up and win those games. And I think the kids now beating Reeves will see that we can win games like that. And Mount Tabor, with Coach Brown over there, they do a tremendous job. And they have great players, and they have a great staff, and they're well coached. It's just another great opportunity to see how far we've come as a program to get us ready to go for our conference season coming up, and hopefully into the postseason, we know it's going to be tough games all throughout.
Yeah, the Metro certainly looks even stronger than it did last year. You guys have beaten Reedsville. Southeast Guilford's already beaten Dudley. They're 2-0. Northern doesn't seem to have dropped off, even with all the graduation losses that they had. Southwest looks good. I mean, it's a conference that just seems to be getting stronger and stronger, and you still got Grimsley, right there. So that's a pretty good conference schedule you've got coming up.
Yes, it is, and we've been impressed. We look at scores, and even in the losses, Northwest is a team I've been
Yeah.
impressed with. I knew they were going to be good. They were younger last year and have a young quarterback coming back and playing East Forsyth tough, who proved to be pretty good against Roseville this
Yeah.
week. And uh, you got Northwest, winning handily over North Davidson, who's a really good football program. So I've been impressed with them also. And
Mhm.
Ragsdale playing Glenn tough.
Yep.
Uh, it was a really good program over the last few years. So I think our conference is looking up. So these three games, going back to your original point, are really going to get us ready for the Metro, who we know is going to be tough week in and week out. And then obviously the 4A West, when we get to the playoffs, is completely loaded. So it's
Mhm.
we better be ready to go, and we better be able to compete in these games and win some of them if we want to compete in October and November.
Mhm. We talked a little bit, just mentioned Mount Tabor again. They had took a bit of a step back last year. They moved up from 3A to 4A. They had a tremendous senior class that helped them win a state championship. They graduated, and they didn't play. I don't think Coach Brown would say up to their standards last year. They were 4-5, didn't make the playoffs, and again a very tough conference. They seem to have gotten it back on track this year. A lot of young guys played a lot last year and got that experience. What do you see from Coach Tyshawn Brown Spartans?
Well, just a balanced team. They're really good defensively, very big team. They're a very large team that that remind me a lot of Dudley as far as athletic and large in
Mhm.
size. Um, Quarterback's an athlete. He's coming back, has a year under his belt, makes plays in the passing game. He's not scared to bring it down and run the ball. They have two physical backs again, who last year we still have nightmares of them running off tackle, and they couldn't stop them. So we got to come up. They're going to offer a heck of a challenge for us. They're good up front on both sides of the ball, so it's going to challenge our lines. And then our skill guys are going to have to be really good because they're good on the edge too. So they really offer, and they're good in the special teams. They have a good kicker, and they do make a lot of plays in special teams. So they're going to make you play every play, and you're going to make you earn everything you get. Uh, so we're going to have to be great. We know that. We're going to have to be at our best to win, and that should be expected against Mount Tabor.
Sounds good. We'll be at that game Friday night over at Mount Tabor. Looking forward to seeing your team go against the Spartans, and we wish you luck in that game and going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Joe.